Hey guys, welcome back to Ari the Stag. TR Tony here, sat in the garage midweek. It's mayhem at our house currently. We're having the kitchen and downstairs completely rebuilt. So I found refuge in the garage in a small corner, but you'll see in a minute there's loads and loads of packages in here ready to go into the new kitchen and whatever. So that's all being fitted. So I've managed to grab a few moments literally to one side just to walk you through, because you can see behind me I had a lovely box of goodies arrived this week, and very, very pleased. It's actually the wiring from Auto Sparks, and they've been quite a few months making the wiring looms and the various mini kind of sub looms, if you like, for my Triumph Stag, which is due back imminently. And one of the first jobs we've got to do, apart from brake linings and everything else, of course, is get the electrics in. So I've got it here. I'm going to walk you through just some of the elements of it. May just help a few people out there thinking of wiring their cars, and perhaps point you in the right direction for a supplier that I know are well renowned in the marketplace and have got a great reputation. So let's just go into the box. I'll have a look, walk you through, show you what I've got, and yeah, go from there. So here's the box that arrived in the week, as I just mentioned, and all nicely packaged up and safe, with a consignment note as well, which I'll walk you through in just a second, because they're all coded, these looms, and I will lay them out in a minute just so you can see what's what. But that's how it's all arrived, which looks really neat and tidy. Lovely fresh wiring, lovely, isn't it? And when you see the old wiring, you'll see why. Now, I never chuck stuff away until I can absolutely prove that it's no longer needed. So over here in the workshop, I've got a light on, so forgive the mess. It's been some months, but here's the original wiring from UNY 49M, and you can see that I labelled everything on every single wire there as we took it off, and that's all great. But talking to my Sparky auto electrician, he reckoned that we're in for a ton of trouble if we use a 1973 wiring loom, that you can't tell where breaks are and whatever. So whilst I've kept it for useful reference when he comes round to do it, it's probably going to again end up in the bin, but nevertheless it's there if we need it to act as a kind of reference to. And coming back up off the shelves here, I've got the relay board here too, which I think it's also got the main wiring harness on as well, which is all there out of the car originally. May or may not use these again depending on how these relays are, but that obviously goes on the in the UK on the passenger side footwell on the bulkhead up underneath the glove compartment. So that's all there. And again, I've kept it all just in case Raoul, who's my auto Sparky, needs it to make reference to. He had this out on the drive many moons ago, and it's quite interesting because he absolutely understood everything that it did. He knew exactly what wire went where and what function it was. This here, I think, is for the round disc on the dash where you've got the indicators, oil lamp, choke lamp, and all the rest of it. That lovely little display on the dash, I know that's for that, so that's interesting. But yeah, so just making the point, don't chuck anything away. It's amazing how useful stuff can be. Right, so I've removed everything from the box, as is the plan, and laid it all out here on the bench, nice and tidy. And I'll walk you through each of the modules in turn. It's very good actually. Auto Sparks come with a sheet, a consignment note, stroke invoice, with the quantity obviously and the SKU number, so that each one's quite unique, as you can see. And then there's a narrative about each individual one, what it is. So I think we had about 12 or 13 items here, and starting with the lower numbers first, we have here 978. So let's just have a look at 978. You can see that nice and clearly. Now 978 is the alternator wiring harness. So clearly that goes into the back of the alternator, that plug at the back there, and is quite nice and neat. 979, which is the next one up. Let's just move that one out of the way. This one, very simple little wire with some connectors on that end and a plastic kind of loom connector there. Now 979 is a gearbox wiring harness. We've got the Borg Warner 35 on our UNY 49, and we picked it up from Andy over in Wales a couple of weeks ago, and I did a video on that, so you've got a little bit of an update on that coming soon. And he's going to let us know what the problem was with the old one, incidentally, that blew up a while back. So we'll come back to you with that in due course. Let's just move those out to one side. 973, Then this one, looking at the list, is the electric window wiring harness. So there we have the side windows. They've still got the mechanisms in the box to my right on the shelf, and that all connects up nice and neat and tidy. Again, these can get quite corroded, can't they, in the packet that they're in, because they can be quite seriously affected by water over a period of time, so that will remove any worry about that. So they're all nicely ready to go. So that's 973 all done and dusted. And then we've got the big one over here. 1905 is the kind of part number, SKU number, and this is the master wiring loom. So everything in a bag. I won't take it all out now, but I think you can see just what a lovely set of wires, if you are into wires. This is all with the wiring loom sockets on. I love all these, so they're very easy to connect to other elements of the wiring loom and sub looms, and it's all logical spade terminals where they need to be, obviously. They've even got one or two grommets I've noticed actually, which I hadn't seen before. So you've even got bulkhead grommets there too, where it goes through the bulkhead, which is a nice touch. I didn't realise they came with that until I looked at it just now. So that's good news, and that will be the master harness that we can use in UNY 49M. A lot of wires, a lot of stuff in there. If I flick across the workshop, across here, part of the fit will need to be over the top of the heater box. You can see there we did the heater box many moons ago. That is ready to go back in the car. From memory, that has to go in fairly early doors, because a lot of wires go over the top of that air outlet, that big square box at the top you can see there. I think there's quite a bit of looming that goes across the top of that, certainly from memory. So we'll probably need to get that into the car first off as we're doing all of this. And I will be getting Raoul, who's our Sparks guy, a very clever chap who can read all this in his sleep and know exactly what does what without even thinking about it. He's that impressive. So we will do a video of that, obviously, when he comes to fit, but it will be one of the early jobs, as I mentioned at the front end, that we'll need to do for the car, because everything gets built around it basically, doesn't it? So that's the master one, and all this came at some expense, as I'm sure you appreciate. Check online for current pricing. I'll be no more open than that. And then 1934, now this is interesting, because the 1934 is actually the fascia wiring harness. Now this lights up all your lights basically, so you can see in there various bulb holders and usual plugs and sockets as before. Again, all very useful. And you remember earlier on I was talking about the circular kind of display that we have, that little display with the oil light and the indicator light and a low fuel light, all of that. That's that thing there, just there. So that's the modern kind of equivalent of the one I was showing you earlier on. So that's all your lights behind the dash, and nice and tidy, no corrosion, and I'm sure the bulbs will fit in there nicely, and we'll be happy with that when it's in the car. So that's 1934, 1952 and 1952, according to the list, is the right hand rear wiring harness. So this goes out on the off side of the car to presumably the boot light and maybe one or two other things in the boot. They are a bit of a fiddle because they weave their way through the body structure, as I remember taking all this out a couple of three years ago. So we're gonna have to wire it back in the same way, obviously, but it all connects up again with the master kind of sockets on there, so that would be good to do that. 1955, here we have the left hand rear wiring harness, and again that'll be going out to the boot lights and indicators, I guess. Someone will put me right on that, because it'll be one or the other, won't it? Again, was a bit of a fiddle getting the first one out when we did the car. I do remember this. It was tucked into the kind of rear near side wing. I had to cut it in the end to get it out, so I'm sure that's not right, and we can put this back in without cutting it. Obviously we wouldn't want to cut it, but my Sparky said don't even think about using that if you cut it, because A, the continuity is not going to be any good, and B, any break is going to cause problems, likely as not, and it's just not worth it. It's false economy in a car like this that we're building. And then 1962 comes to the fore, and 1962 is the center console wiring. So that's the pod to your kind of left hand knee, and that no doubt has got the window winder switches and stuff like that. I guess those are the window winder switches there, I don't know. Again, not being an expert in sparks, I'm not overly familiar, but that would be my estimate of what they are. And yeah, anyway, that's good. Moving across here, 1967, and just look at that number again, 1967. This is the relay board wiring harness, and if you remember earlier on I showed you the relay board, the old one. It would make absolute sense to buy new relays, so I don't anticipate using the old ones. I think that would be false economy. I don't suppose they're too much money in new relays, so we'll need to work through that steadily and quietly and make sure that we've got some good quality relays there. Any fault in the system is just going to cause major problems, so it ain't worth it. So we'll probably get new relays, although we'll use the board that they came off. Obviously I think they're just straight plug and play. So that's 1967. Coming over here, 1980 somewhere, no, beg your pardon, 1978, little tiny one. 1978, the year that I took my O-levels back in the day. Yes, I did get an education, and this is another Gearbox wiring harness. Not too sure how it fits in with the other one, but I guess you've got the inhibitor switch in there somewhere. You've got various other electrical connections, so no doubt that will become evident. And if I had my gearbox handy, which I do, it's under there, but it's in wraps, I guess we could play around with it and see where these fitted. But for today, and given the kitchen and the house is in a mess, I'll just suffice to show you what I got. 1978, that's that one. Through to them, 1980, and again, only a small little wiring loom, this one, red and black wires. And 1980 looks to be actually it's a number plate lead, so this is the rear of the car, pretty sure, and goes into the rear number plate light. So a very straightforward little red and black wiring that will help you do that, and that's 1980. And then finally, BC61 is a big chunky one, big lace straight jobby, and you can see there we've got a battery terminal, and that's all good. So BC61 is the battery earth lead, so that goes to the body, from memory, just on the wing, on the offside under the bonnet. So that's all good. So there we are. So okay, so that's all great. As I say, I've used Auto Sparks. I've heard of Auto Sparks many a time. I watched Wheeler Dealers for many years, and I think even people like Mike Brewer have been there to visit them and see what they do. There has been a bit of a delay in terms of getting the stuff here because of COVID. We know that. I may have mentioned that already. 14 to 16 weeks I think it took. So the car is imminently due to come back, we know. And as I say again, one of the first jobs is to get this done and make sure that we're all good to go. So there we are. That's a complete set. I'm sure there'll be gaps in some of the wiring that we've got. If we have, then at least I do have the original down there in the depths that I showed you earlier that we can refer to. And if nothing else, Raoul can make a template or use an original to knock up something if we need to. Alternatively, these guys might be able to help us with the resupply of other looms rather. So all good, and very pleased that we've got it in the house and in the garage, and ready to rock and roll. Happy days. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Literally a quick whistle-stop update on where we're at this week, given all the mayhem internally. Having to cook outside at the minute, it's that bad, but we'll get there, I'm sure. Good to walk you through the electrics. Really comprehensive set of wiring looms we've got here now. I'm sure it will clip together into the new car when we get it back. We've got a nice clean car coming back, which is terrific. So hopefully all this is logical. And then the rebuild begins, which is fantastic. Suspension, obviously, wiring, and the brakes, of course, will be one of the first jobs we've got to do. So looking forward to that. Good. Okay, well, I hope you're well wherever you are. Have a great week. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can always do with some thumbs up. We love that. Thank you very much. And don't forget either Saturday sockets on a Saturday with our email updates. Very worthwhile joining in on that. Go onto our website and we'll get you on board for that. And also, you can see behind me there's a badge of honour against the wall. You can stick one of those on your car and share the Classics dream with us, and that's free of charge anywhere in the world. Just let us know on the website and we'll send you one. Good. Okay, well, have a great week, and we'll see you online on Harry the Stag very soon. We're getting there. Cheers. All the best.